Oh, sorry, I was, too busy, marveling at the music here. Hello there, everybody, Spawn92 aka Nightmare, and welcome back to Roast Guns Day Season 2. In the last episode, we got an ultimatum, and now Rose has to go by herself to confront Caleb, who was almost assassinated by Butler and the American occupying forces. Yet, I don't think Caleb realized that the Americans were actually trying to kill him. No, he actually thinks that it was Rose's team that was trying to kill him. Which is going to cause, that kind of causes a bit of, confusion. A lot of confusion. So, it looks like we're going to be on the cusp of a battle, I imagine. Rose's car approached the agreed-upon meeting spot. Pier number 7. A crowd of men was waiting for her. The headlights of several cars greeted Rose by shining brightly on her. I swear, if this is where it's going to... If the cutoff point was right here, I would be very upset. She couldn't see well with the backlight, but she could tell that the men were pointing several heavy-looking machine guns at her. Rose got out of the car and stood facing them. Are you Rose Hayabara?
I came alone as promised. Are you happy now? Just in time. I thought you'd show up here with a bit more leeway. Traffic was worse than I imagined. And it's pretty far between here and Small Rock Chinatown, isn't it? Chinatown has nothing to do with this. I came here of my own personal will. Please let Wayne Kun and Claudia go. We never promised you anything like that, right? We promised that they'd be safe, but we never promised to let them go. Did you read the fine print? Please let me meet with Caleb's son. Caleb said he's willing to meet with you, but not here. Please take me to where he is. But first, you need a body check. It would sure be troublesome if you had any plans of dying and taking Caleb with you. Oh, fuck that. That's kind of a problem.
From the beginning, she hadn't thought that they'd let her take her gun with her. Rose slowly took off her gun and threw it to the ground at her feet.
That's the only weapon I have.
Of course, that was a lie. On her finger was the assassination ring that Meiju had given her. From the start, that gun had only been camouflaged to make it look as though she had disarmed.
You're lying, aren't you? Women lie so easily. Unlike men, they lack a moral code that says lying is wrong. Isn't that a little bit sexist? That's not true. You know, I can tell a woman is lying by her smell. I can smell the stink coming from you. Are you sure that's not just my perfume? You're just overflowing with that rotten crayfish stench.
So lying smells like crayfish? I'm gonna have to smell some crayfish so I can get the smell down. Then I'll be a human lie detector! Rose felt it immediately. Men could be roughly grouped into the majority, those who couldn't see through a woman when she lied, and a rare minority who could. Rose felt that this man was part of the rare latter group. She glanced at the ring. It was an old, worn-out ring that didn't stand out much in the darkness of night. However, it was a bit unsuitable for a lady of the evening to wear. It was hard to say that Rose's outfit matched the oriental design on that ring. Rose's nose kept telling her how dangerous Miguel was. This Miguel had a sense of smell like an animal. No, like a woman, and sharp instincts to match. He might figure it out. If this ring was taken from her, she wouldn't be able to do anything. However, this Miguel was Caleb's right-hand man. It was a shame that she couldn't take Caleb down with her, but by now, there's no helping it. If she killed Miguel, his underlings would probably take revenge at once. She would be turned into a honeycomb on this pier and die. She was prepared. How could she let herself stay discouraged at the last moments of her life? Ah, damn you, Lee Meiju.
If you can't trust me, then why don't you do a body check on me? good point. I think we'll do that. It would be a pain if you had a bomb on you or something, after all.
If only that were really true.
I'd be able to take more of them down with me.
Don't do the suicide bomber, Jesus!
You can examine me. Oh? Feel free to examine my body to your heart's content. Of course I'll have that done. But I think I'll give that job to some of these young pups. Sounds like she wants a body check, so go and give her one. Yes. No. What's that? I am still Madame Rose of Primavera, a noble woman. Father Caleb's right-hand man Miguel-san would be one thing, but my body is not to be touched by mere small fry. What do you think you're saying? You say some funny things, girl. Sure. In that case, I'll take good care of you. After all, I already know every little corner of your body.
The memory of the time she'd been wounded and humiliated welled up inside her. She bit down the chill of that memory in her throat.
However, when I see a woman's skin, I won't be able to stop myself from cutting it again. Are you still okay with that? I don't care.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime provocation from Rose. Miguel slowly walked forward. If he doesn't notice the ring,
I'll have a chance to go after Caleb. If he does, I'll die along with Miguel. Since the time I came here, my life has already been abandoned.
jeez. Mage, you really messed with your mind there. Miguel stopped at tatami mats a width away from her. Okay, I think I have a vague idea of how big that is. What a cautious man.
He's just barely far away enough to prevent me from doing anything. Raise your hands.
Rose raised her hands as instructed.
Do you want me to jump up and down or something? Strip.
Upon hearing that order, the men whistled boorishly.
I thought you'd say that. That's what men always order women to do. If you're so insistent on meeting Caleb, our body check has to be perfect, right? If you don't like it, we could just give you a free ticket to the Tokyo Bar Aquarium. I understand. I'll take my clothes off.
She had never dreamed that she'd be forced to take off her clothes outside, lit by the headlights of cars. Though she was prepared for death, Rose's fingertips shook slightly. Slowly, his trembling fingers touched her clothes and the men laughed boorishly. Her clothes split at the chest and her white skin and breast slowly peeked out. Wait.
What? How long have you worn that ring? That ring, on the middle finger of your right hand. I change my rings a lot, depending on how I feel that day.
It doesn't suit you.
Huh? That ring doesn't suit you.
It was a bit hard to believe that a man so hostile to women would be so perceptive. However, a woman would have noticed, and Miguel, with his similar sensitivity, had noticed.
Would you mind throwing that ring away? This ring is precious to me. Won't you let it slide? Then I'll take it. I'll give it back later. That's bad. I've seen how good Miguel's intuition is. I'm sure he'll notice the device in the ring. But if I lose the ring, I won't be able to take anyone with me. And if I resist, it'll be impossible to keep Miguel fooled. A ring-shaped weapon, or some sort of hidden contraption. Things like that exist, you know. It's no use. It's completely on to me. It's best to give up on using this ring for now.
Rose readied herself, then took off the ring and threw it into the pitch black sea. I can already hear Meiju getting mad. Miguel was a good distance away. Even if she attacked him now, she wouldn't be able to take him down, so the ring was of no more use to her. In that case, better just get rid of it and let him take her to Caleb. She had no weapon, but if a person is prepared to die, there's sure to be some way to take a life.
Wasn't that ring precious to you? It's because it was precious. I wouldn't want your hands defiling it. How bold! In that case, why don't we continue with our strip show? I've got no interest in women, but these young pups don't seem to agree. Why waste such a chance? Make it sexy, just like the Madame of Primavera should be. Don't just stand there teasing us. Strip now! Ugh.
Y'all need to be hit in the dick and then have them ripped off. Though the obscene voices humiliated, Rose put her hands on her clothes again. As soon as she did, the screech of tires and the roar of gunfire rang out.
Over there! It's Rose!
Rose-san!
Riddle him with holes.
Fucking hell! Within moments, the car became a honeycomb of lead, spitting out white smoke. Two people crawled out from behind it.
Wayne-kun! Claudia? They came to save you! Yay! I thought you'd been caught.
We escaped. Get your head lower!
I didn't know what was going on. However, it was at least clear that they weren't hostages anymore. In that case, there's no more need to stay in a dangerous place like this.
Hey, is that Wayne and Claudia? Why are they here?
I'll let you know if you want. So come on over! Jesus! Fucking hell! The car Wayne and Claudia had come in was now filled with holes, and fire as well as smoke was starting to spurt out of it. This car's already done for. We'll probably need another car. And this appears a dead end. If we move slowly and our path is blocked by enemy reinforcements, we'll be trapped like rats. Claudia! Steal the car in those shadows over there!
It's impossible! If I get out from behind this car, I'll be Swiss cheese! Let's do it, Claudia. That's the only way to survive. Wayne-kun, I'm counting on you. Give us cover!
Fucking hell! Rose picked up the gun she had thrown away earlier and started returning cover fire from behind the car in a practiced manner. Wayne quickly realized that she was giving them time to reload and was doubly surprised. Rose-san, when did you learn how to use a gun?
2, 1, reload!
Rose continued to shoot, taking care to remember how many bullets she had left. Then she announced that she was out of bullets, asking Wayne to provide support while she reloaded. Wayne, as someone who had been instructed in guns by Leo, understood. She must have learned this from him. I see. So you and Leo met up with each other.
Everyone's safe. There's only you and Claudia left.
Got it. I'll cover you. Dash out the next time I shoot.
It's impossible. Why were we killed? Wait here, Claudia. I'll start the car up.
Now! Run! Very well. Oh my god. Your guns are nothing.
You're so cool, Wayne. Are you trying to be John Wayne now or something?
What do you think, Pilgrim? Come on, Miguel. Surrender's not in my dictionary. Oh my god. Excuse me, I'm starting to have a little bit of too much fun now. Oh no! Smack him with a 9! Thanks to Wayne's efforts, the enemy's eyes were drawn completely to him. During that gap, Rose leapt out from behind the car and reached the abandoned car. That car was behind cover, so it was protected from enemy bullets.
We're in luck. The key's still in the ignition. Wayne-kun, the engine's running. Come over here quickly.
If Wayne and Claudia made it across, they'd be able to escape. However, the fierce gunfire had them pinned behind the burning car that was rapidly turning into scrap. You run next, Claudia. I'll find a way to make an opening.
I understand. I'll run like my life depends on it.
When you get there, escape with Rosa. Don't wait for me.
We can't do that.
I can worm my way out of this place alone. I can't do it with a woman dressed in a kimono. Unless you want to take it off and run around in your underwear, do what I say without complaining!
Yes, though, Jesus Christ. That woman's planning to escape with that car.
Miguel, women have nothing to do with this, right? Fight me! Which of us is better with a gun? If you call yourself a man, stop running away and fight me!
I like it, Mag Dog, Wayne.
Winka!
Oh, God.
Alright, let's go. Gotta say, even though he's fucking psychotic, Miguel has some pretty good little pictures there. Yeah, you can tell he's just having a blast with this. Whew. Oh, he is still going. Now, run, Claudia!
Yes!
As soon as she tried to run, Claudia saw something metal fly past her eyes.
Isn't that...
Grenade! There was an ear-splitting roar and a blast of heat. The car they were hiding behind exploded with a burst of crimson flame and flew into the air before crushing the two silhouettes. The explosion on the grenade had set off the burning fuel tank.
Wayne-kun! Claudia!
A moment later, pieces of metal and glass rained down upon the whole area. Rose frantically called their names, but neither appeared from the billowing flames and black smoke.
Wayne-kun... Claudia...
Miguel-san, it's a patrol car. Let's get out of here. We got too flashy. Anyway, catch Rose.
The whistles blown by police officers were racing closer. Miguel's group surrounded the car Rose had been hiding behind, but she was nowhere to be seen.
So she's hiding. She should be somewhere close by. Should we search for her?
The whistles and screeching tires were getting closer and closer. Oh my god, please tell me, please... Wayne should be fine, Wayne should be fine.
But what about Claudia?
At this rate, they'd be trapped rats on this pier themselves.
Let's retreat. I'll remember this, Rose.
Miguel made the painful decision to retreat. They were in the middle of negotiations with the occupying forces. They mustn't get captured by the police and give them a car to use in those talks. They got in their cars one after another and dashed away at full speed. After watching them go, Rose crawled out from a gap between containers.
Wayne-kun... Claudia...
She stumbled up to the burning wreckage of the car. She called their names over and over again, but no one answered. After being crushed beneath that massive burning hunk of metal, there was no way they would answer. Rose's heart was gouged with an unacceptable fact, and she gasped from the pain of it.
Please answer me. Answer.
Oh. The inferno stopped her from getting any closer. She would never be able to see their faces again, much less wipe the grime from them. She could do nothing but slump to her knees and call out to the pair on the other side of the crimson flames with all her strength. The sounds of whistles and many footsteps raced towards her. Be careful! Someone may still be hiding around. Hey, you! What was going on here? Who the hell are you?
Wayne-kun... Claudia! Answer me! Answer me! Let go of me! Let go!
Take her away. She may be one of the criminals. The MPs dragged Rose away. However, her eyes were blank. Nothing was reflected in them except the heartless smoke from the burning car that now marked their graves. After being pushed into the MP's car, Rose's face was black with tear-streaked dust. However, her pupils were also muddy.
Wayne-kun...
Chapter 6. The Rose Stained with Blood. Fuck! That's not good at all. Chapter 7, The Night of Legend. This hotel had absolutely nothing to brag about. There was no air conditioning. It was hot, stuffy, damp, and you'd stay sweaty no matter how much you wiped it off. Throw in the smell and the lack of any interior decorating, and anyone would want to check out right away. Unfortunately, the biggest problem with this concrete hotel was that none of the guests were allowed to check out. When some policemen appeared in the hallway, hands stretched out of the barred windows here and there, people muttered with discontent. Hey, officer, what am I supposed to have done? Why was I the only one arrested? That American's the one who started the fight.
Shut up, Jap. The pits! The stink here's bad enough to curl your nostrils.
Hitting the arms that stretched from behind the bars of their nightsticks, the policeman headed deeper in.
Here we are. Get the hell out of here. Your boyfriend's come to get you.
In the dimness of the innermost cell, Rose crouched, holding her legs. The policeman said something and led Rose out, but she was beyond noticing. The moment that Wayne and Claudia had been swallowed by the Crimson Inferno on that night was still burned into her eyes.
Because I didn't take personal responsibility for the ideals I spoke of. Everyone will be sacrificed. At this rate, I won't stop at Wayne, Coon, and Claudia. Many more of them will be sacrificed one after another. I have to get my hands dirty. I have to become a dragon.
Rose-chan.
Captain?
The person waiting for her in what seemed to be a drawing room was Butler. When he gave a gesture indicating that it was okay to go, the policeman left. I didn't want to have to meet you in the clink. Well, at any rate, I'm glad you're safe. Those words felt deeply ironic to Rose now. Sure, she was safe. However, that happened because her friends had become human sacrifices.
If I had been prepared to dirty my own hands sooner, no one would have to be sad.
I won't ask what happened at the pier. It really is sad. I used to like City 23. It was somehow peaceful at this eastern tip of the world, unlike some frantic, bustling metropolis. But what about now? Thanks to a single man, everything's been ravaged.
It's my fault for not having the resolve needed to stop Caleb's son.
There's no helping it. The opponent was an unfortunate match. Our higher-ups also miscalculated Caleb. Their clumsy greed ended up costing them a lot. By now, Caleb's a wounded tiger. No. He's the same as a bomb with the fuse lit. Since the time Caleb was attacked in front of the occupying forces' headquarters, he had grown extremely cautious. He had hidden somewhere in the city, and it seemed only a small group of his inner circle even know where he was. To the American higher-ups, who had wanted to wring a lot of money out of Caleb, he was now little more than a troublemaker they wanted eliminated. However, not only were they unable to pinpoint Caleb's position, but Caleb was making frequent phone calls to check how the handover was progressing. They made excuses saying that the negotiations were encountering difficulties, but it probably wouldn't be long before Caleb's patience snapped. When that happened, there would be war. Yeah. Before that happened, the occupying forces would have to eliminate Caleb. The Caleb family was like a balloon filled to bursting with the gas of discontent. If Caleb was eliminated, it would pop and disappear like a soap bubble. However, if you pop a bubble, the spray will always cover everything around it. The problem was who they could get to pop that bubble.
If I could have stopped Caleb's son sooner.
You can't go back into the past. The best time is always right now.
Yeah, right. Now, I have to become a dragon.
A dragon?
Yeah. To save my countrymen, I intend to become a dragon. To take responsibility for my ideals, I must become a dragon.
What does becoming a dragon mean?
It means stopping Caleb's son with my own hands.
Are you firm in your resolve?
Yes. even if it means we end up killing each other.
Butler didn't notice that there was something darker than what he knew in Rose's eyes. Of course, he hadn't thought that she would start talking about something like this. Hell, I didn't expect it. However, it wasn't hard to imagine that she had undergone many painful thoughts since the Caleb family took power. So even hearing such savage words coming from her mouth didn't seem out of place to him. Though, thinking about what she must be feeling struck him with a desire to just run away. His heart raced ruthlessly. The frigid abacus in his chest was calculating her current value to them. Unless something's done about Caleb, City 23 will be destroyed.
Yes.
Whether it's by peaceful methods or otherwise. Unless Caleb's stopped, it's all over.
I am prepared to do that.
I see. You might be the only one who can do it after all.
Yes. Only
It was impossible for the American army to find Caleb, now that he had gone underground. However, Rose could surely find him. Surely, even Caleb would show himself if Rose went.
This is a fight between Japanese people to save our Japanese countrymen. And so, I must get my hands dirty.
I got it. I see how firm your resolve is, Rose-chan. What do you need now? Tell me anything you need. I'll get it for you. This is to make up for being unable to help you at your lowest point. Ask for anything you like, and I'll get it right away.
Then, a gun.
Oh, of course. And?
A bomb.
You want a grenade? Or dynamite? I'll get it for you, but we'll have to talk about how and where you're going to use it.
Dynamite. I'll hide it on my person, get close to Caleb-san and blow him up along with myself.
No! Ro.
It's the only way for me to take responsibility for raising my dragon and being unable to get my hands dirty. Give me a bomb, Captain.
Because they got involved with my
Ideals. Wang-kun, Claudia, many more people have lost their lives. I have to take responsibility for that. I have to become a dragon. I have to become a dragon.
Killing yourself is not going to help! Rose's pupils grew even more clouded by the curse of the dragon's tongue. Damn you, Meiju! That ghastly look made even Butler gulp. That night, Rose was in a high-class apartment in the Newton district. The large building had been used as a guest house for American officers visiting them from the mainland. So the whole area was under the supervision of the American army, and no unauthorized people could even approach it. These days, there could be no safer place for Rose in the city. Rose was lying down on a sofa. She had only planned to take a short nap, but it was already the middle of the night. At some point, a basket of bread, a bottle of mineral water, a handgun, and a large present box had been set on the table. There was even a message card from Butler. It said she could use this room however she liked. It didn't say anything about the present. Even so, she knew what was inside it. Inside, there were several sticks of dynamite and grenades. There was even a military vest that would make it easy to wear them on her person.
With this much strapped to my body, I'll probably be able to massacre everyone within a radius of 10 meters. Of course, before a moment passed, she would probably become a red cloud in the center. That's okay. That way, I'll finally be able to carry out my responsibility. When I actually touched it and felt its weight, my heart leapt once. With this, next time, I'll definitely...
As though to help harden the half-dried concrete of her determination to die, Rose quickly put the military vest on. Then she attached the dynamite sticks to her vest, one after another. She could feel that she had become a walking weapon. A walking bomb. However, this way she would surely be spotted no matter how she tried to hide it with a jacket. It would probably be best to carry them under her skirt. However, as she watched this unusual picture of herself reflected in the mirror, she could feel herself growing calmer. Calmer and calmer.
Several people who trusted me died. Got to stop Caleb's son. That's the only way I can take responsibility. Even though I've supposedly grown calm, even though my heart has stopped racing, my head has started throbbing like an alarm bell. And me in the mirror is starting to twist itself into some sort of bizarre monster. It's not just the inside of the mirror. The mirror, the wall, the room, the ceiling. All of it began to twist. I've got to become a dragon. Quickly.
Rose, with her gentleness and her straightforwardness, her stubbornness and her doubly strong sense of responsibility, was the type that could be influenced most deeply by the dragon's tongue. However, too many things had happened one after another. The feeling of responsibility she bore was becoming a monster ready to swallow her whole. That bizarre monster, puffed up by their mad vest filled with dynamite, was staring right at Rose from beyond the mirror.
I've got to become a dragon. I've got to become a dragon. Because I've taken up a dragon's ideals, everyone's been sacrificed. I've got to take personal responsibility for taking up a dragon's ideals. Stop. I've got to. Stop. I've got to become a dragon. I've got to become a dragon. All your cheap talk led to a lot of people dying. So you have to die too.
Fuck maze you! Is that goat some new fashion? With that sudden voice, the fog surrounding Rose's head cleared up in an instant. Something tickled her nose. After all, that smell of tobacco was something that always surrounded him. Oh, thank God. That coat doesn't suit you. Next break I get, I'll pick you a new one.
Leo-kun?
Hot tear dripped from Rose's right eye. How long had he been there? He had probably knocked several times.
However, I was being swallowed by the beast inside and it didn't reach my ears.
Leo was standing in front of Rose's eyes, closing the door behind him while giving it a little sigh and smiling. Then with a straightforward, bitter grin at Rose's violent and unsuitable outfit, he crushed his cigarette in a portable ashtray. As she looked at his expression, several feelings that had been numbed in Rose were revived. Leo slowly stretched out his fingers and pulled out one of the dynamite sticks packed into Rose's chest pocket. This some new kind of lipstick? Still, it's a bit too big. The scent doesn't suit you either. Leo touched the end of the dynamite stick to Rose's lips. Even though it was just that, it felt extremely ticklish, and Rose made a sound without thinking about it. That was how far she'd been paralyzed. Normal feelings and thoughts kept coming back to her.
Why am I in a place like this? Why am I holding so much dynamite? Why am I preparing to die? But if I don't at least die, how can I take
responsibility? For what?
Because of my cheap talk, so many people suffered. Because of me, Wayne-kun and Claudia are...
They wouldn't die.
No, they did die! Right in front of my eyes. What have I been doing? So much has happened, it might have made me different. They told me to come alone if I wanted Wayne-kun and Claudia to live.
So you decided to walk right into their trap.
There was no time to hesitate, and I didn't know what to do. I felt I had to do it, that I had to throw away my life.
Don't!
And then Wayne-kun and Claudia came to save me, and for my sake.
And that's why you have to die?
After all, everyone's lost their lives for my cheap talk. In that case, I've got to give up my life too.
We aren't risking our lives because we want you to die. You being alive will accomplish something more than us being alive. Because we believe that, we can put our lives on the line.
For my cheap talk? You think it can protect our countrymen and guide them?
That's right. For your cheap talk. Simple cheap talk, which would die a useless death if left only to words.
Even though I have to do something, I don't know what that is. Even I realize it's nothing but cheap talk at all, if all you do is talk about it. I realize that I have to take the lead and dirty my own hands if I want to save my countrymen. So I have to do this. I can't think of any other way to take responsibility.
No, there is a way.
What way?
It's true that you have to be prepared to get your hands dirty if you want to make your cheap talk a reality. You can't protect any countryman or anyone's freedom without the resolve to dirty your hands. For example, let's imagine that we're on a big oar-driven boat called Japan. Someone's got to row those oars and get blisters on their hands. That's what it means to dirty your hands. However, no matter how powerfully they row those oars at random, they'll never get anywhere. If you move at random, you might wander lost in the ocean, or you might hit a rock and sink. We have the strength to row those oars. However, we don't know how to use a map and compass. We're not even close to seeing which direction we should be moving the boat in. But you can see it. Your heart will be our telescope, showing us the way to a future we can't see.
And you're saying that's what cheap talk is?
That's not it. I'm talking about the destination our boat is heading towards.
Huh?
If we float around a misty ocean with no destination, that's the same as being adrift. However, if the captain assures the crew that there's a destination beyond that fog, they can pluck up their courage. Do you see now? Rowing oars is the only way to get your hands dirty. Becoming the captain, standing at the head and leading the crew of rowers is also an important job. Aww. You just have to show us the way. We'll row the boat in that direction. At first, it might look like you aren't getting your own hands dirty. But that's wrong. You'll be our captain and order us to dirty our hands. By ordering many rowers to dirty their hands, you'll be dirtying your own hands more than anyone else.
I had it wrong, didn't I? I thought the madam had to try harder than anyone else to take on the dirty jobs herself. But I had it wrong, didn't I?
Your spirit wasn't wrong. You just mistook what it meant to get your hands dirty. This is the same as the military. 100 violent people on their own are no better than bandits. However, when they're commanded by a single leader who has earned their trust, their power becomes many times greater, and it becomes possible for them to perform a just service. I don't need to explain anymore, right?
Yeah.
All of us. Richard, Cyrus, and of course me and Wayne. Claudia, Stella, and Meryl too. Every last one of us has considered you to be the most fitting person to be our captain, and we've acknowledged you as the madam.
And yet, I've misunderstood what the captain's job is.
That's right. The captain's job is to stay in the captain's room and look at maps and compasses. But instead, you let that go undone and started wiping the deck. Cleaning is a job for us low-level sailors. You have a job as the captain, a job that only you can do.
Yeah, I understand now. However, when I saw Wayne Coon and Claudia lose their lives, I wanted to lose the same thing. If I didn't, my heart would be crushed.
That's the captain's heavy burden. That's you getting your hands dirty. Leo always has like the best advice. You don't need the drag. He's basically the antidote to the venom of the dragon's tongue. Even so, you've got to hold your head up high. The captain has to keep looking only towards their destination.
And I was trying to take the easy way out and abandon that duty.
There's no helping it. Primavera isn't the military. It's not like you went through any training or classroom learning when you became madam.
But maybe I did. I seem to remember Amanda-san telling me strictly and repeatedly that the madam should be ruthless and heartless. That the madam must not act friendly with the common people. I thought that I was just in charge of taking care of people. Sort of like being a class president. I may be the representative, but there was certainly nothing grandiose about my position.
Well, to be fair, you kept a lot of women safe.
So thinking that, I'd only listened to half of what she was trying to tell me about the rules of being madam. Being the madam is a very lonely and heavy job. By now I can finally see part of that. Now I'm sure I can understand. I can understand those duties of the madam that Amanda-san spoke of. My eyes grew hot. Warm tears dripped from them one after another. What a foolish madam I was.
Okay, I still feel bad for her, but this is character growth. And I like that. I'm hoping this helps, Rose become much stronger. I think the first step was was Leo teaching her how to use a gun. And I feel like this was an important second step, I think.
I didn't need to take responsibility for saying all that cheap talk. I needed to take responsibility for calling my words cheap talk. This time, I need to bear responsibility for my ideals. For some reason, when I was listening to Meiji-san talk about dragons, I started to feel that I had to take that responsibility by my own hands. I won't misunderstand anymore. I won't misunderstand what it is Wayne-kun and Claudia entrusted me with. Thank you, Leo-kun. Wearing something like this, I must really be an idiot.
You got that right. It's scary as hell. Also, my family code forbids me from trying to pick up chicks with dynamite strapped to them. That's an oddly specific family code that I think everybody kind of needs.
You can't even smoke when I'm like this, can you?
Leo was stubbornly chewing an unlit cigarette. Rose giggled and sat down on the bed. The soft feel of it spread throughout her whole body. It felt as though it was cleansing the curse that had enveloped her.
Leo-kun, tell me something. What should I do? I won't misunderstand my resolution and beliefs as the madam anymore. But I don't know what I should start by doing.
You might want to tell everyone you've reached that decision. Then, you can ask whether they're willing to entrust their lives to you.
Didn't Wayne-kun say it all the time? That he could throw away his life for me?
He did.
Even though I was entrusted with something that important, I was so thoughtless. I'm sorry, Wayne-kun.
If Wayne's actions spurred you on into finding your resolve as the madam, I'm sure he must be celebrating. Wayne's another one who'd rather be thanked than apologized to.
Yeah, you're right.
But whatever you're going to do, let's leave that until tomorrow. For now, your first job is to take off this badly fitting coat. Leo leaned over and undid the belt and buttons on Rose's military vest. When her arm slipped out of the sleeves, the menacing vest fell to the bed with a thump.
My shoulders feel unbelievably light. It's just not just the weight of the dynamite and the vest that are gone. It's many more things besides. Thank you, Leo-kun. If you hadn't come, I would have died alone without understanding anything.
So you're planning to make a raid with dynamite strapped all over your body and that handgun in your hand?
With my clumsy shooting arm, which you only got to train a little. Huh? Huh?
When the fingers that had removed the vest touched the ribbon on her chest, Rose's body shook. Don't tell me you're planning to sleep in a formal outfit like this, right?
Well, I wasn't, but...
Without hesitation, Leo's fingers undid the strings of her corset. Then his hands covered her shoulders. Those hands were big and hot. Just the touch of them felt as though it would burn her.
Leo-kun?
Leo's hands spread the shoulders of Rose's clothes and slowly brought them down. Then, still holding Rose's thin arms, he slowly pushed her down onto the soft futon.
Leo-kun, wait,
Her sweaty, steaming chest was exposed to the air, and the smell of her own sweat made Rose's face turn red. However, with Leo holding her arms, she couldn't resist. Leo slowly brought his face closer to Rome's. Then he whispered into her ear. When I was teaching you how to shoot, we made a promise.
Yes?
You swore you wouldn't fight alone.
Wasn't that a joke?
A joke? I wouldn't sleep with you for a joke. This time, I'll make you truly mine. Oh my! Oh my! My heart was racing.
My head was spinning, and I didn't know what was going on anymore. But for some reason, fear was the one thing I didn't feel. Because Leo's painfully strong arms held me so that my heart would never get lost again.
Oh my. Wow. Oh my. Huh. Well, I certainly didn't see that coming. That was extremely sweet. Yes, hello. Sorry to call so late. Wonderful butler. Thanks to you calling me before the day's out, peace will reign in C-23 for another night. How many times do I have to tell you not to threaten me before you'll understand? Or is my Japanese worse than I think? Won't you tell me how I can explain this to you? Don't get the wrong idea, butler. I'm not threatening you. I just want us to pray together for peace and safety in C-23 as fellow residents. The city is filled with people crazier than Alfred. There are men all over possessed by the ghosts of the time we called you, the vicious Americans and British. I've been keeping an eye out and keeping them in line, but something might happen that makes them start hurting American citizens from bell towers. Or a reckless truck driver might run over a good American family. That's a relief. So, thanks to you, we don't have to deal with tragedies like that. Exactly. I'm working in my own way to prevent needless blood from being shed in the city. Caleb continued to threaten calmly from the other end of the phone call. He had no time. He had gathered that 100 million by force, saying that everyone's lives would change if they did so. Unless the occupying forces made some sort of visible move, even Caleb wouldn't be able to wipe away the discontent from the lower ranks. Butler listened closely to this, paying attention to what hid behind Caleb's tone. The higher-ups had already given the order to assassinate Caleb. Even if Caleb piled up another 100 million or 200 million, they had already decided not to deal with him. The order given to Butler was to deal with the Caleb problem before he stirred up any trouble. However, since the failed sniping the other day, Caleb had gone into hiding and never appeared in public. Caleb was demanding that they decide on a fixed date, when the Americans would show the outcome of their deal in some tangible way. And he was also making a threat, saying that it would be difficult to prevent the outbreak of several unfortunate accidents or crimes if they didn't comply. Butler wanted to find some way to take Caleb out of the picture. He was buying time to do that. Caleb, on the other hand, wanted to show off the results of his efforts in some visible way as soon as possible. After all, his biggest failure, which he now recognized, was inspiring his underlings too much of the idea that results would appear immediately after gathering 100 million. See, that's part of the reason you fucked up there, Caleb. Butler wanted to halt Caleb's impending rampage at whatever the cost. Caleb wanted to achieve some sort of result while he still had the power to hold men together. The two goals were countering each other from either side of the phone line. Their execs say they'd like to meet with you soon. We'll work to make that happen as fast as reasonably possible, so could you take that as a sign of our sincerity? It was a complete fabrication. They had never made any accommodations for Caleb. Please realize that I've been stuck in a meeting until this late, precisely because of the efforts we're making. They might not resist giving up what they have to Americans, but they didn't realize they'd be handing it over to Asians. Well, you see, just like the Japanese talked about the vicious American and British, the people back in the States used to call their enemies uncivilized barbarians and so on. If you want to see whether we're civilized or not, all you have to do is meet with me. I can talk with money like a civilized person, or I can talk with strength like an uncivilized one. Which attitude I take is all up to you. I'm hoping for this matter to be resolved in a prompt and gentlemanly fashion. I'm a gentleman, so are you. Then we should be able to settle this peacefully.
Caleb acted calm. However, on the inside, the unexpected delays were making him frantic enough to want to scratch at his own body. Even though both sides were in an explosive situation, neither one of them admitted it. I'll contact you as soon as they finalize the schedule. I promise to do that by this weekend. And that's all for now. Good night, Caleb. Butler set the receiver down. He was in a small conference room. In that room were several high-ranking officers sighing deeply.
Is it really okay to make a promise like that? We're buying time. If we talk to him through substitutes and interpreters, we should be able to buy a little more. But we were planning to use that time to do something about Caleb. Captain, according to you, we plan to encourage some powerful leaders within the Caleb family to defect and assassinate him. At any rate, we're in trouble. If this gets too big and the GHQ hears about it, everyone in this room will lose their heads. If only we didn't fail to finish him off back then! This is all your responsibility, Captain!
Calm down, everyone. No need to get so fired up. You can't have a fox hunt unless you spur on a talented hound. Fox hunting has nothing to do with humans hunting foxes. It's a sport where humans release the hounds, follow along on horses, and watch the spectacle. The actual hunting is carried out by the hounds. The humans are only spectators. The fact that they don't dirty their hands with the blood of beasts is what makes this a noble sport.
I see. Do you have a hound in mind?
Oh, but of course. Please leave everything to your humble Philip Butler, gentlemen. I'll take care of everything so that one day you can all make your triumphant return home with a proud, spotless record. Corruption, bribery, breach of trust and embezzlement that would bring shame to the American army. As long as I'm around, I'll see to it that such unspeakable slanderous lies never attach themselves to you. Have no fear. The officers looked away uncomfortably, coughing and smoking, acting as though he was talking about someone else. Please leave it all to me, everyone. And for your sakes as well, I ask that you lend me your assistance. I'm not entirely sure whether I should consider Butler an enemy or not. Probably yes. Oh, back to here. Weren't you a lady of the evening?
Well, I always worked with administrative matters.
Rose laughed embarrassedly, clutching at her blanket. Leo stood up and made to light a cigarette, but smiled grimly and stopped.
What you said about captains made it really easy to understand.
Well, talking like that used to be my job, more or less.
Your job?
During the war. I, went to a certain country far to the south.
Yeah?
It was a pitiable country. For hundreds of years since the time of the East India Company, that country was a colony of a foreign nation. In the late 16th century, during the Age of Exploration, the great nations of the world used the limits of their technology to make colonies out of undeveloped countries, expand their territory. Until World War II, nearly all of Asia was filled with colonies of those great powers. This southern nation had also been turned into a colony of that era, and over 200 years had passed since then. I mean, I'm still kind of, I guess I'm just going to stick with Leo's voice for this little description here. With the 1960 United Nations Resolution Declaration of the Granting of Independence to Colonial Countries and Peoples. My god, that is a hell of a... that's a big word. One could say that colonialism was denounced by worldwide consent. However, during the centuries leading up to that, humanity had, practically speaking, acknowledged a country's right to make colonies of other countries. They had fought bravely several times before trying to gain independence. However, bravery alone isn't enough to win a fight.
You didn't have any weapons?
The problem was even more basic than that. The people of that colony had no chance to learn the necessary skills. Even if they had a limitless passion for independence, they had no chance to learn how to shoot a gun, much less lead a battle. And they even had no way to learn how to manage their country after achieving independence. The
goes without saying that the ruling country had no reason to teach them these skills. My job was to teach them how to protect their country. They gathered a large number of passionate young people. Leo's group had taught them all the techniques and attitudes they needed to protect their home. Beneath the blazing sun and blue skies, they kept undergoing strict training to take back their country by their own hands. They stuck through the most unpleasant drills, never losing their determined gazes towards their big dreams. Then, sometimes, they would sit in a circle under a tree and talk excitedly of the shining future they'd have once they regained their nation's pride. See, there's a ship in the distance. Every last one of them was young and good. They all felt pride for their homeland. They burned with enthusiasm at the thought that they might be able to reclaim the national identity they'd lost for over 200 years. To a young Leo, those young people must have shone so brightly. Leo had made an oath with them. When the time came for them to fight for their homeland's independence, he would fight alongside them. Leo had proudly stated that this was why the Japanese army had come, but to free Asia from colonial rule, that was our country's just cause. But was that really true? Or was it just propaganda to spur us on? I don't know. And then on April 1st, 1944, violent natural disaster broke out across the Japanese island chain. The war came to a sudden end. Even Leo's group was ordered to disarm immediately and return home. After that, troops from the country that had ruled this colony would land again as part of the Allied forces. To young Leo, it sounded like they were being forced to abandon these people who were so enthusiastic about winning their independence. Later on, the ship taking him back hit a mine and sank. Leo drifted to a certain island, was captured by the Allied forces, and spent 3 years in a prison camp.
Fuck!
In that prison camp, he had been given a historical re-education from the point of view of the Allied forces. Of course, I never accept the enemy's words blindly. Still, a lot of the things they said fit. We soldiers departed with the just cause of freeing Asia in our hearts. Then we talked about it with the young people in that country, swaying together and talking about the future. But it's possible that our higher-ups, even Leo, as a low-ranking officer, had seen a lot of things that weren't pretty. While he was a single cog in the army, he had never questioned it particularly. However, looking back now, he wasn't at all confident that their higher-ranking officers really had an honest desire to free those people. They pained him to the point of agony, and he passed several sleepless nights filled with a confused anger and sadness. Then, when he reached his 3rd year in the prison camp, a dullness grew in Leo's once young eyes, as though he'd reached a philosophical understanding, or had just gotten old. Everything is pointless. When I think about talking with them under that blue sky, it made me want to claw my head. Their innocent eyes and smiles are now my worst nightmare, tormenting. I came back to Japan and read a newspaper in the repatriation office.
Did it say something about that southern country?
Yeah. Even though he'd given up on everything and thought he'd forgotten about it, that country was mentioned there. He had thought their cheap talk would disappear like bubbles, and the original colonists would have returned after 3 years and scattered his former pupils. However, he was wrong. They were forming volunteer armies all over the country and rising up. The day for their real battle had already arrived while Leo was despairing in that prison camp. Right now, they're forming volunteer armies all over that country, fighting for their independence. They sweated and trained, dreaming of that day. Even though Leo had sworn to be with them on that day, he had done nothing but lazily wander around this unrecognizable Tokyo. When he looked up into the sunlight and felt his mind slip into the distance, he always remembered their faces. When the day to fight comes, I'll take a gun and fight with you, even though we were born in different countries. Even though we all swore that to each other, standing side by side and talking of the future. Even though I supposedly have nothing to do with that country anymore. However, that part of me makes me so angry. If we weren't there to save them, Then right now, I should go fight with them. Go shed my blood with them. It's nothing to do with me. I don't care. But the more I think that, the harder it is to forget their earnest gazes.
Leo-kun.
Rose finally understood Leo's war. Fighting with them and achieving independence. That was his war.
Alright. They're your students, aren't they? I'm sure their passion will pave the way to the future.
Passion alone won't change the military situation. The enemy has a regular army 120,000 strong. It seems they're resisting with guerrilla warfare, but the enemy is fighting all out. Nearly all the major cities, including the capital, have fallen. There's no hope left. Even though now is the promised time when we should be fighting together. Surely that's what Leo wanted to say. Rose understood Leo's feelings painfully well. Right now, Leo's war was continuing in that country to the distant south. And his old friends were fighting a difficult fight. I don't want to abandon friends I've sworn to fight alongside. Never again. So I don't want to break my promise to fight for Primavera. Because of that, I'll fight by your side until the end. That, I promise you. Aww.
Thank you, Leo-kun. I feel as though I've learned a lot from you today. I know I'll be able to fight until the end, to guide my countrymen as one of your pupils. So, when you've finished fighting with me, go and end your war.
Rose.
I'll keep waiting for you. By the time you come back, your homeland will be reborn into one you can become fond of. I can do it, because tonight, you've given me the strength.
I might have gotten something too.
What's that?
The power to live, maybe. You've shown me how to spend this life of mine.
Leo-kun, lend me your strength. For our countrymen. To save the city, we have to get our hands dirty.
Yeah. Eventually the night will end.
Yeah.
When the dawn comes, that'll mark the start of new days. For you and Primavera. The two of them stayed awake until dawn came. They talked about all sorts of things, and saw the dawn of a new Primavera seep in through the window. The dark sky changed from a deep purple to an autumnal crimson, before becoming a heavenly gold. Even though ladies of the evening should be sick and tired of seeing the sunrise, that beautiful rising sun made the tears in Rose's eyes glitter like diamonds. Then Rose stood up and stretched out her hand. The hand reached for the telephone. I don't think room service is up yet.
No, that's not it. There's one more person I really want to show my resolve to. Second only to you.
You know the number?
Yeah, I got it the other day.
Hmm? Actually, yeah, I'll go ahead. Inside a beat-up office where you could hear the waves, there wasn't a sound to be heard except for Caleb's yawn. No matter how much wealth he amassed and how many hotel suites he switched between, he insisted that there was no bed better than his worn-out sofa. This. Miguel was also wrapped in a blanket, lying down beneath the desk. However, he noticed something approaching, and with a reaction like a wild animal, he pulled out his gun and looked outside.
Oh God, why do you have to do this to me every goddamn time, Miguel?
It was one of Miguel's underlings. He seemed to be unusually flustered considering the time, with the sun just barely rising into the sky. Miguel quietly left the office so as not to wake Caleb. Then he heard the report, and even he was surprised. What? What's going on?
Sorry to bother you so early in the morning. They said there's a phone call for you.
Oh, what time do you think it is?
And it's from Rose.
What does she want?
I don't know. She's saying she won't talk to anyone but you.
Well, why not?
If you pick up the phone, they might be able to figure out where you are. We should call her back from here.
Well, how does Rose know this number?
Because we gave her the number when we went to Primavera.
I see. So she thought it was the only number she could use to talk to me.
Will you answer?
Even if it's a person I want to kill, it's not my style to keep a woman waiting. In the administrative offices, bodyguards under Miguel's command were nervously holding the receiver. Let me be alone. Everyone out.
Yes, Father. Wake up everyone who's sleeping. This might be a trap to pinpoint the Father's location and attack. Gather the night watch and get all the cars started. Get Caleb's car here too.
Quite the scene we have here. And all from a single phone call from a woman. After a big yawn, Caleb finally calmly took the receiver. Hey, Rose. Seems terrible luck is something we share. You tried and failed to kill me, and I tried to fail and kill you.
Caleb-san, until now, I misunderstood what it meant to protect people. I thought it meant hugging the weak and using your back to protect them from the misfortune that falls on them. That's wrong. That's not what it means to truly protect someone.
Rose's voice, which she hadn't heard for a long time, was unbelievably calm compared to how it had been. Caleb understood. Just like him, Rose had resolved herself to do something. That's right. Protecting your friends on the battlefield doesn't mean stopping bullets with your back. You protect by getting your hands dirty and killing the enemies that are trying to kill your friends.
I've been turning my back from the resolve needed to dirty one's hands in order to protect.
That's why you can't protect anyone.
Yes. Without the determination to get your own hands dirty, you can't protect a single person. That's why this time, I'll fight to protect my fellow countrymen. I will stop you. Even if it means staining these hands with your blood.
Oh, perfect. You're sounding more and more like my dead wife.
Caleb-san, Primavera is making a proclamation of war against the Caleb family.
Very well. We'll accept that challenge.
If possible, please surrender.
Don't be an idiot. That's something you say to someone when you've knocked them down and pointed a gun at their forehead.
I will bear all the responsibilities you're trying to bear. At some point, I would like to have a good long talk with you. I want to discuss what sort of future we'll plan for our countrymen.
That doesn't sound bad. If we had the chance, I'd like to have a casual drink with you too.
If you just surrender, we could do it right away.
You first. If you surrender, I'll be able to sleep in peace. The boat needs only one captain. One of us has to die.
So you aren't going to surrender?
My apologies. This is the path we've chosen, right?
If you won't surrender, I will use these hands and this gun to shoot you to death.
Damn, you go, Rose! She has evolved. Who the hell needs to be a dragon when you can be the captain of the boat?
Well, I mean, being the captain of the boat sounds slightly less impressive, but at least you're not poisoned if you're a dragon. So, good.
Okay, so we finally got a bit of character development for Rose. He, also, Leo and, Rose just did the reverse polka, which, ironically, was I think it was a pretty well executed scene that I actually do not mind. I thought it was actually pretty well executed. It was, technically implied. It didn't go into detail, it was okay. It was executed in a very fitting manner, and I like that it was executed in that way. That was a very mature way of showing that. So, thank you very much for that, Rose Guns Days. So, Rose has now steeled herself to declare war against Caleb. Good! A stronger Rose is a better Rose. Also, we learned even more about what Leo's war is that he has to take care of.
3 years of re-education, that's... Jesus.
That is just messed up, and... Where the hell are Claudia and frickin' Wayne? They better be okay. They better be okay. I'll be incredibly mad otherwise. But anyway, I wonder how Maisie's gonna react. Oh, you're back. You're alive. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask you to ignore the party favors that we had gathered around here. Oh, this is actually quite embarrassing. What were you guys doing? You gonna plan a party or something? Oh, yes, it's kind of a sort of a death party? Oh, really? Who the hell died? Well, it doesn't matter anymore. Anyway, oh my god. I really like this novel. I think I'm actually getting better to the point where I'm not, like, murdering my throat now. Or maybe it's just because, you know, Cyrus wasn't in there.
Lord knows that shit'll tear up my throat like nobody's business.
But anyway, hope you guys like this, and if you did, be sure to let me know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video, and hopefully we'll see even more Rose development. Hello there everybody, Sabato92 here, and if you like this video, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And hey, if you guys like my content, then maybe you'd like to check out another channel who I think deserves equal attention. So click that nightmare emblem and check out that channel, or go to the links in the description down below. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.